Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will give you tips to craft a best resume possible so that you land that dream role of yours. So if you're interested, please stay tuned. I recently went to a Grace Hopper conference where one of the talks that I went to was a workshop on crafting a good resume. And I thought that the tips that they gave us were super useful and I wanted to share them with you guys. I also interview people in my own role and have been doing it for quite some time, and I've looked through a lot of resumes so I know what a good resume looks like. We're going to go through basic components of a good resume, advanced components of a good resume, and ultimate components of a good resume. Let's start with the basic components. Number one, and a very important thing, is your resume has to fit in a single page. The usual rule of thumb is for every 10 years of experience, you add a page in your resume. If you do not have 10 years of experience, then you have to stick to a single page. Imagine that a recruiter or a person that looks at your resume has 3 seconds to see whether you're a good fit for the job. And it actually is true. Recruiter spends about 3 seconds to look at your resume. Imagine they have a ton of resumes to look through. They will only spend a tiny bit of time to look at your resume. So imagine 1, 2, 3, done. Can you catch their attention? So on this one single page, you have to put all the relevant experience and information for the role that you're applying for. List all the relevant experience, but don't go into a ton of details because, again, you have to make sure that you fit into that one single page. Number two, your resume has to be formatted very, very clearly. You know, you probably have seen all these crazy, creative, very extremely visually designed resumes where they have pie charts and different graphs and it's very colorful. That is not good. That resume is extremely irritable. You have to make sure that a person that looks at your resume for 3 seconds can find the most relevant information right away and see whether you're the right fit. So a well-formatted, clear, concise resume is a way to go. You have to pick one font that is very readable. Don't do a cluster and a mess of different fonts. It's very hard to read. Make sure that your margins are very well aligned, top, bottom, left, right. Your resume is not blown on all of the page so you can fit as much information as possible. Again, make sure you're very concise, your resume is clean, it's readable. Number three, and something I cannot stress enough, use correct grammar and spelling. Folks, I have seen it so many times when a person has a very clear, great, concise, readable resume and then they make a silly spelling mistake. And to someone who looks at your resume, they think, oh wow, this person couldn't even take the time to correct their grammar and double check it. They are trying to pitch yourself for the position and they didn't have enough diligence to send their resume over to a friend or to use spell checking software, so many of those on the market right now, and just have their words spell checked. I've seen it a lot of times when people use these and spell it as THIS instead of THESE. And again, it just creates a bad impression, and statistically, that is one of the biggest reasons why your resume will be just fully right away rejected by a recruiter. So make sure you spell check and use correct grammar. Now we're going to move to advanced components of a good resume. Number one, you have to know your resume backwards and forwards. You are the only person that knows and can tell the interviewer why you're the best person for this role. You have to memorize everything you listed on the resume. So if a person asks you, oh, tell me about that great project that you worked on, you can elaborate on it, you can give a detailed answer, and then if they ask for clarification on what's written on your resume, you can actually speak about it. Imagine that someone asks me, "Oh, Luba, I see you worked on this great wishlist feature at Airbnb while you were an intern there. Can you tell me more about that?" And I go, Oh yeah, wishlist feature, yeah, that project. Oh yeah, I accomplished so much there. It was a great project. It was a great success." And then the person that's interviewing me, they think, wow, she can't even speak about her own accomplishments. She doesn't even know what she wrote on her resume. Big faux pas. Make sure you know your resume really well. Number 2, be confident and stand out. List unique experiences, unique skills. If you have that volunteering role that you think is relevant to the job you did, or you took up any leadership responsibilities, or you interned, or you wrote a research paper, whatever is relevant, make sure to put it on your resume. And also don't forget to put your interests outside of work. There were a lot of times where in an interview, I was asked about my opera singing, and that was a great conversation starter. Imagine that in the interview, you're not just selling your skills and pitching yourself, you're also building a connection and a relationship with the person. So put in those extra bits of information about what you like doing outside of work are great icebreakers and conversation starters. Number 3, and last but not least for advanced components of your resume, is including specific metrics and quantifying yourself for credibility. Let's look at a real resume example. Interviewed candidates for my team. That is completely unmeasurable. Why did you interview these candidates? How many candidates there were? Over what period of time? What does your team even do? Let's look at a different example that is much better and way more quantifiable. Interviewed 200 candidates over a 6 months period of time for software engineering full-time and internship roles for my company. That is so much better. I included what kind of candidates I interviewed, how many, over what period of time, and the person who is reading my resume can create an impression of my experience and what I have done and what kind of impact it had. And now we're going to move to the ultimate components of a good resume. Number 1, ensure that your resume is easy to understand. Have an assumption in mind that someone who is reading your resume does not know what you do in your day-to-day job. They don't know much about your industry or field. They don't know what conferences are common in that field. And why you need to do that is because anyone who grabs your resume should understand why you went to a specific conference and what it's about. So for instance, if I say I was a speaker at GHC conference, the person who looks at it is like, what's GHC conference? They would have to spend their time and look it up, which they will for sure probably not do. So you have to make sure that the acronyms are easy to understand, so Grace Hopper Conference, that your experience is listed very clearly and it's explained what you actually have done and what that means. Number 2, very crucial point for an ultimate resume is explaining the why. Why is your work important? Why have you had that impact? Why have you done the things that you have done? This is an example without a mention of the why. Build a mobile application. Why did you build this application? What did you build this application on? Whom was it for? What kind of impact it had? Now let's look at a much better example that emphasizes and includes the why. Build a record system that 200 field engineers use on a daily basis on their iOS and Android devices. I have included the why, I have included who is using the application, I have included the numbers of how many engineers use this application, and I included the system, iOS and Android. So much better. You went from here to here in the eyes of the person who is reading your resume, and you caught their attention, and that is your goal. Your goal with your resume is to catch the attention of the person who's reading it and prove to them that you're the best for the role. And just a general tip, make sure that you send your resume over to friends, your relatives, your grandmother should understand what you have done on your resume. Just make sure you get some extra eyes on your resume so that you can make sure that it's clear, it's well formatted, it's well understood. Because you know, when you stare at one thing for a long period of time, you for sure can miss things, and that's okay. So get extra eyes on your resume. That is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found these tips useful, and I'm sure if you apply them, you will get that dream role of yours. In the comment section down below, let me know if you want your resume reviewed. I will pick a person randomly and review their resume in a separate video. So if you're interested in this, please comment down below. And again, if you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Put the notification button on so that you know when new content is coming out, and I will see you very soon. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye for now.